What's going on? It's Ed here from Geek, and today I'm with the ugliest group of PPC providers on earth. These are some of my buddies in the Google ad space. I've got Nick, I've got Dustin, I've got Mark, and then you guys know Rob, my business partner. So what I'm going to do is just go around the horn real quick, introduce ourselves, and then we're just going to have a kind of a Google Ads roundtable about what's working, what's not working, the pros and cons of running an agency, the joys of running Google Ads nowadays, and all that good stuff. So, Nick, why don't you introduce yourself?
Nick Kremer. I own and operate Driven Leads. We are a real estate shop, so we work with residential real estate brokers, owners, single agents, all residential side, and have about 160 clients and push a couple $1 million a quarter in Google ads alone.
Very cool. Dustin, what's going on?
Nice. All right. Dustin Miller, PPC Pros. I've been doing this for about, almost 10 years now. Wow, getting old. We serve, right now we're focusing on tour operators, water sports operators. That's kind of our focus for 2022 in the foreseeable future. But we got clients that are e-commerce clients, lead gen clients, SaaS clients, a little bit of everything, which is always a fun time. But yeah, that's a little bit about us.
Trades.
Yeah, master of one.
Very cool. Mark, what's up, man?
Hey, it's good to hang out with you guys. I own Inbound Revenue. We're primarily a white label Google Ads agency. We'll probably get into this later, but we do almost all lead gen. We do a little bit of e-commerce, but really only with our grandfathered in clients. We're really moving away from that. And we'll probably, per the instruction that Ed sends me daily on Facebook Messenger, we'll probably niche down at some point and smarten up.
Yeah, very good. And Rob, last but not least.
Oh, you guys all know me.
So this is Rob. He won't do his own introduction.
900 videos on the channel. Everyone knows who I am. I do the tutorials on Geek YouTube channel.
Yeah. So this is Rob.
On a daily basis.
That's right. And I'm Ed. I'm one of the owners here at Geek. Rob is the other one. So let's get into it. Let's talk coming out of winter, going into spring. Are you guys seeing an uptrend towards more search traffic, more impressions, more activity going on in the market, or are you kind of seeing the Ukraine stuff and the end of COVID stuff affecting traffic? Kind of just give me a little insight as to what you're seeing these days. Nick, you kick it off.
For us, we're extremely cyclical with real estate. So right after the first of the year, everybody made it through Christmas, didn't get a divorce, didn't kill each other, looking at homes, traffic goes to the roof, cost per click goes up. So we're seeing a cost per click come down and traffic kind of come down, which doesn't seem to coincide typically, but we are seeing that. Now we've got interest rates growing, so we'll see what happens with our industry. We feel pretty good about it being strong with the teams that we have. But you do see search go down when the sun's shining and people are able to get outside in the Midwest, like where I'm at. It cuts down on traffic considerably. So that's just something you see as a natural thing. It'll level back out probably around May.
Yep. And
so hold on, Ed, Nick, my mother-in-law owns like a really big title insurance company out where we live outside of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. She said the same thing, man. She's really optimistic about everything with the market.
Yeah. So the crazy thing with real estate is everybody's under the impression that the interest rates are going to go up and the sky is going to fall. We are short. I want to say we're short 50 million homes for millennials, and millennials stretch from 40 years old. My brother's one of the oldest millennials, and then you have all the way down to like 25. They don't have houses, and everybody that all the baby boomers like my parents that have houses if they've sold those, then a lot of times they're being sold to investors for rentals, and people are tired of renting. So it's a crazy market in the sense that the prices are going to stop skyrocketing. They're going to level off, but the inventory is so light and so low. Like everybody still wants to buy. Everybody still has cash on hand from the COVID as well. So it's still a good market to be a real estate agent and own a title company in, but the interest rates are going to have to jump 4 points to really shut everybody down from buying, and you're still having people buy.
Very cool. And besides deep residential real estate knowledge, if you ever need to kill a beaver or a coyote on your property, Nick is the man.
He's the man.
Legally.
He knows his stuff.
Legally.
Legally, yes. All right, Dustin, what's going on with you? What are you seeing?
Well, so right now with the tour operators, this is the beginning of the busy time for most of them. A lot of my clients are in Florida, not all of them. I guess some in Alaska, Hawaii, some other places. But between COVID ending, so people not being afraid to go out and do stuff, travel, and just like the summertime hitting, people that are in colder states can go back on a jet ski or go on a tour. It's like this is the time it starts picking up. So we're going to see. This is what we call our shoulder season, which is like the beginning of that season. The middle kind of high end is like, from May, let's say, or June really through like August, depending where you're at. And then it kind of shoulders down and it kind of dies off for a lot of people between December and around this time. So we're coming to the busy season, which is always fun because like the numbers jump through the roof, spend goes up, people are happy.
That time of year, man. For me,
It is. And
it.
quite. Yeah, no, it's great. And so we're just enjoying it. And I'm in Florida. So right now, this is like our busy season because everybody in the world, first of all, wants to move here now, thanks to COVID. But, it's always busy during this time. The snowbirds come down and come to defrost a bit, So it's good on all fronts, man. We're good.
Very cool. Mark, being that you're in white label and had exposure to tons and tons of industries, what are you seeing?
Well, the interesting thing I think overall is that the agencies are getting really busy. We had like our best month in February. Now, back in December, I was like thinking I might be on Indeed.com looking for jobs, It slowed down terribly, but I've seen a huge pickup. The trends that I saw were interesting because last year it was everybody was bringing me, sell house fast, sell house for cash type of stuff. This year it's sell car fast. So that market is just the junk car market, used car market must be taken off. So that's sort of my read on what's happening. Overall, it's just been solid and it's been across the board. All the standard home service niches we're in seem to be doing well, and they have since COVID came along.
Yeah.
I think everyone's spending time at home
Yeah.
or moving to Florida.
And you're making a move down to Florida yourself soon as well, right?
St. Petersburg. So Dustin, I'm not sure where you're at. But.
Yeah, I'm like down near Miami, well, about an hour north of Miami, but I have a part ownership in a business that's a tour operation in Venice. So that's just south of Tampa, like an hour south.
Okay, nice.
I'll come check you out one of these days. Or if you ever want to go on a tour, hook you up.
Or we'll meet over at Miami at 7 Figure or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very cool. Then Rob, anything you're seeing, anything you can call out in terms of trends, or is it just kind of coming out of the winter holidays?
A lot more traffic for our real estate investor guys, like a lot more traffic, which I'm sure has a mix of all that stuff that everyone mentioned is what's driving that. And also, like Mark said, the junk car stuff is huge. My only concern with that, though, is the gas prices, because it's going to kill these guys if, diesel goes to, what's it now, like $6 or something like that, a gallon, or $5. So if that goes up like $10, then, they're going to run into some issues. But hopefully, I'm hopeful that it will work itself out. I guess we'll find out.
I'm actually buying cars now for the gas that's in the car.
That's awesome. I think if gas keeps going up, we got bigger issues than just junk car guys, because it's going to trickle down to everything. Everything's going to keep getting more and more expensive. So yeah, if it goes to $6 to $10, I think we're all fucked anyway. So
yeah, I'm gonna be driving Teslas over here pretty soon.
Exactly. I think we wouldn't. What did Saki say, or whatever her name is? Fasaki. I can never remember her name.
Yeah, Saki, Jen Saki.
Yeah, if we all just drove electric vehicles, we wouldn't be having this issue. Good insight. Thank you. I appreciate it. Cool. So talk to me about the agency side of things. What's working for you in terms of generating leads for your own agency clients, and what's been working well for you these days? Nick, you want to go first?
What's working? Being friends with Ed, that helps.
You're into that.
Ed, actually, we're like 90%, 95% referral based. I think people lose sight of the value of that. Honestly, when we just got done with our conference that we were at, a lot of us pushed that, and I think that opened a lot of eyes to the younger or the newer agencies out there of saying, well, how do I go and generate leads? How do I generate leads for my company? Do a really good job for your clients. We've got some big clients that we do really well for, and they are our biggest champions on the internet and to all their friends at their masterminds they go to. So our lead influx and inflow is really good to the point where we push away probably 35% of our clients because they're not ready to do any PPC. They might be thinking that they are or told that they are, but they don't even have a functioning website, which we could go down that path for a long time talking about landing pages and stuff like that. So with lead generation for us, it's strong. But then also we keep in mind that we can't help everybody by making them a customer, but we can help everybody by pointing them in the right direction, giving them sound advice, telling them do this, not that. And I think that's another thing that people lose sight of is every person we talk to on a consult call, we make sure to make it a valuable conversation for them instead of just being like, oh, you don't have any money, see ya. Because we've got 2 clients that we started with $500 budgets and grew into monster teams. One of them is in Jacksonville and they did $1 billion in sales last year.
Wow.
And they started as a very small client and then they just kept coming back and saying, we want more, we want more, we want more. So they're one of our top, our anchor clients that we have. And they came from a conversation saying, hey, I don't know if you're ready for this or this yet. Let's start it and try that. And they just, that made them believers in us caring about them. So for referrals, that's very valuable for us, but then also, paying it forward and helping other people out that can't use our services now, but might be able to use something else.
Yep. I 100% agree with you there. When you talk to people originally in the or early on in the conversation, everyone thinks they're going to scale to the moon, take out 20 agents, whatever, open up their own office type thing, until the rubber hits the road.
Right.
And more than they originally come in at. And the ones that scale up tend to surprise you. So that definitely resonates with me, what you just said. And then the consultative approach, do right by people, offer them solid advice, actionable advice, do right by them and talk to them as if you were talking to your sister or your mother and offer them the advice you'd offer them if they were getting into business. And that stuff comes around. We've gotten referrals from so many people that we didn't even take on as clients just because we shot them straight and said, this isn't a good idea for you. Come back in X amount of time. And it resonates. You don't just try to take people's money, but you shoot straight with people. It's got a huge impact. So it's refreshing to hear someone else say that. Mm-hmm. Dustin, what do you got cooking?
Yeah, for me, emails, the main thing I'm doing right now. I'm working on some ads, which will be YouTube and more Facebook stuff. I was working on an offer. It was really a training to kind of put out there for my industry. But email's been working fairly well for Google Ads audit. So I'm basically finding advertisers running ads in my industry and just like, hey, I saw your ad. There's more systemized ways of doing this, but the basics is, hey, you're running an ad. This is the ad I saw. Hey, if you need any help doing a Google Ads audit, we can usually save you, operators X amount of percent, whatever. So nothing guaranteed, obviously, but it's a pretty reasonable outcome most of the time. So just, sending it out, we get some people that say stop. Some people say, sure. I just did one for a guy yesterday in Colombia who does some pretty cool tours over there. He was like super happy. We've got clients that way and also build a really good kind of rapport with people, which is what I was also interested in doing, right? It's about, obviously I want clients, right? But I like to be able to help people. Like some of these guys, like you said, Nick, they're spending way less than I would charge them, but I'm giving them value in this video audit that I do. Cause I was doing them on a Google Sheet, screenshots and all that. I transitioned to video so I can show them. And so it's a little bit faster for me also. And I'm on camera. I get to kind of, build rapport with them visually that way. But that's been working really well. Either people get value from the audit and they're like, dude, you're awesome. And they're happy about it, or they're hiring us, or, they're ignoring us with the email. That's usually one of 3 outcomes. So, so far, so good.
Yep.
And Dustin, are you sending from your main email or are you setting up?
Ooh, no. I use a Gmail that I've had for a long time. When they respond to that email, because they'll say, yeah, I'm interested or whatever, then I'll respond from my regular, but I do not send out cold from my domain because I'll be, it'd be bad.
Can you,
and we're not sending hundreds of thousands of emails. I'm sending we're probably have maybe 400 or 500 people in a list at any given time. So it's not huge volume anyway,
So for those that don't know, if you're sending from your main, so clicksgeek.com email, can you explain what the risk is there and why someone wouldn't want to send from their main email?
Yeah. Because if people report you as spam, then they're going to is basically going to affect your domain. So now, let's say you're sending from your main website domain, when you're trying to send a regular email, like if I'm sending Ed an email to say, hey, dude, what's going on? High chance I could end up in his spam folder, or especially for new people, right? New clients that maybe you've only emailed them once or twice. So Google doesn't recognize you as somebody that they trust yet. For sure, you're going to end up in spam there. And I've seen this happen to other agencies that when we used to do white label, they'd be, we'd have their domain and we're sending their clients emails sometimes. It's only happened with one particular occasion, and it's all going into spam. They're like, what's up with how come we're not hearing from you guys? I'm like, well, we're emailing you, but it's in spam. So what do you do to get out of that? You find somebody who can help you try, and I'm not willing to go on that path. So yeah.
Okay. Well, we've burned a couple domains with cold emailing from.
Oh yeah. My brother just, so I'm in a group text with my two brothers, and they both have companies. And my one brother was like, yeah, I just set up this it's a woodpecker software.
That's what I'm using, Woodpecker.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. It's so cool. They were showing me it. And he's like, yeah, I'm setting them from my main domain. I'm like, whoa. You got to stop that immediitely. I'm like, how many are you sending? He's like, I don't know, like 200 a day. I'm like, Jesus. Like, no, you got to like pause everything. You got to get like a burner domain or something, dude.
Yeah, just get the .co version of your domain. Mine is a .co.
Yeah, that's why
I couldn't do that. But that's what I would typically do.
Awesome. Mark, what about you? What's working?
Well, you guys spark so many different things. I don't know which one to talk about. We're warming up a domain right now for cold email that we do a little bit of cold email, but not enough.
Explain real quick what warming up is, because it'll play into what Dustin just said, so just people understand what you're talking about.
Okay, well, basically, it's just taking that domain and using an email and starting to send and receive emails from there, maybe sign up for some newsletters, this or that. It's kind of like SEO, pretend it looks natural. And then once it's warmed up, you're more likely to be able to use it effectively for cold email, because they're not going to see, I don't know what all the rules are, but I know that there's certain rules for how many emails you can send a day. And if you suddenly start slamming them out, then you're probably going to get identified as spam, and they'll shut you down. So we're warming it up. And then the idea is I'm going to start using Rob Warner's PPC Ad Labs tool to do some.
That's what we're using too. Okay,
cool. And just some standard outreach to agencies and things. We do some, their agencies are easy to find on Google. So we just search them up, use Hunter.io or whatever to find their emails, cold email. That way we'll do that through inbound through a different domain.
Do you guys use a scrubber, an email scrubber list, like to scrub your list to make sure there's no like undeliverables or?
No,
yeah.
No, not scrubbing at this point. Matter of fact, we haven't started using that domain yet, but since I knew we were going to be spraying out a lot more emails, I didn't want to do them on mine. And then we're using a tool of some sort. I don't know if it's great or not. I posted up on Facebook. Everybody gave me their suggestions. I've used Woodpecker in the past, but I just wanted to warm this thing up. So we used Warm Up My Inbox or something like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, for anyone, let me jump in real quick. For anyone watching this who doesn't understand anything about cold email, what warm up basically means, the gist is that when your emails are warmed up, it means that you have a higher chance of your cold email hitting the inbox instead of going right into spam. That's all that we're talking about when we're talking about warming up emails.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're doing the whole gamut. We're starting to email our own list because marketers are dumb. They don't do things like market their own list. And maybe in 2022, we're going to the commitment thing with JC Height down in Costa Rica. It's all agency owners. Just me getting in front of more agency owners, basically. And we finally got someone else to handle sales, so I don't have to be on, all those calls. And then knowing Ed. That's the other thing, just knowing Ed.
Ed's the secret weapon of all of the agents.
Yeah, right.
Ed and Rob. I don't want to forget you, Rob. You guys
I get nothing, man. I'm in the background. Nobody knows I exist.
He's like, I don't even know. I didn't know you guys were sending people to these guys.
Even though the two videos where I'm talking and I'm the one showing them how to do it, they're like, thanks, Ed, in the comments.
Or all the client testimonials would be like, Ed is awesome. He did such a great job in Google Ads. And I'm like,
Rob's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, every time. That's awesome. Hey, Mark, you post a lot on social media. Do you get business from kind of just having that presence on Facebook?
Facebook. It's the only thing that LinkedIn is basically worthless.
Yeah.
Twitter, I just go there to see people fight.
Yeah.
But Facebook, if I spent more time there, I could do more business there. I don't really want to have someone post for me, or just because I don't want, because it's fake. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you know,
You
what
have
I
a
mean.
you have a unique sense of humor. You've got a very
Yes.
dry sense of
Yes.
humor. So it would be, I think, quickly seen through if someone was posting for you.
But to
Right.
me, I love the interaction. I love to
Yeah.
see what other people say when I say something snarky,
Yeah.
or they respond indignant, not realizing I was being, just
Funny.
half tongue in cheek.
Messing around.
Yeah.
I love following Mark around Facebook and seeing his comments and seeing
That's
people
awesome.
lose their shit when they don't realize he's being, he's just having a tug at him there. I think I would guess you get a bunch of people that follow you just on, you're bringing knowledge to the platform, and then you're also just being a little bit of a smart ass, a little bit dry humor, and some people just don't get it, and you can see the rare few that'll get standoffish. But I think it brings down everybody having their shields up, brings them down to be able to ask you questions or to get a better answer from you. I enjoy. I think you do really well on Twitter too. If you were over there.
I've been a little more active on Twitter. Twitter, I could never quite figure out.
Yeah.
Facebook is the one where it feels a little bit more like a real conversation. I'm somewhere, I try to be honest, but not embarrassingly revealing on Facebook.
Mm.
Like when I see someone put up one of those posts, talking about how they dragged themselves, home vomiting drunk last night at 3 a.m. Like, I'm not going to do that, but I might reveal a little bit about, myself on Facebook, because I feel like it's more honest that way. I don't know. I like that medium better than the others. I can't really make them work. I
feel
don't
like
think.
Twitter's a lot of bots too, isn't it? I always
think
hear
it
that
is.
Twitter's like a lot of bots.
Yeah. And I think for agencies, I think Facebook is where it's at. I think they're all there. So I think if you're going white label, then I think an opportunity or big opportunity is Facebook. So many
We
groups.
do some LinkedIn Navigator stuff, but that's really just to get emails so that we can hit them with, or email addresses so we can hit them with pricing and stuff. I've never gotten LinkedIn. Can't figure it out.
Right. Yeah. We've tried it in a few different niches in the past, and I basically go over there just to remove the red dots from my profile. So
I do that 5 times a day on my phone just because it irritates me. I'm like, oh, I've got notifications.
I had to take it off my phone. I couldn't. I was like, all right, I'm not looking for a job, and I'm out. I'm not dealing with lawyers. I'm off here.
Yeah, but your profile was viewed 35 times last week for a job.
True. This is true. True.
I love that email.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird because this is my last LinkedIn comment. Like 20 years ago, I was a Fox Pro programmer, or I did some of that. I'd get job requests on LinkedIn. I'm like, how deep did you have to dig? First of all, why are there still any Fox Pro programmers? And how far did you have to dig to find that?
That's awesome. All right. So what's working for us? Content, stuff like this, blog content, YouTube content, cold calling, strategic alliances, referral partners, direct mail. We're about to send out a little over 1,000 people next week.
How many?
17,000.
Nice.
To a niche, I presume.
Yeah. The niche.
Not handwritten.
Determined,
That's for sure.
No, definitely not handwritten.
Those days are over, my friend.
Yeah, we started using this company called Yellow Letter HQ. They're in our direct mail course. If you guys don't have that, let me know and I can give you access.
No, I don't.
But it's pretty cool. You upload the letter, you can pick from one of their templates, and then does all this customization stuff. And you order it all. It's a true e-commerce platform compared to most mail houses. You call in, send over files, send over everything. This is done all online, and you can pick. As long as you get it in by, say, Friday, it could go in by either Monday or Wednesday the following week. And then if it's Wednesday, it could go to Friday. So like super fast turnaround times. And pricing is really reasonable. For a letter, it's like 55 cents. And for a postcard, it's like 48 cents, something like that.
Wow.
Nice.
Minimums? What type of minimums do they have?
Probably 1,000 pieces.
No, I want to say we've done letters for like 250. I'd have to check.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very reasonable though. And for nothing else other than the speed, it's worth it. So, Justin, you said hand addressed. we used to hand address everything. Rob would come up to
I've seen the pictures, dude. I remember you guys posted them on Facebook. That's why I said, I'm like, unless you started last year, you probably didn't handwrite those.
Used to sit in the apartment in Hoboken and fill envelopes and fill them right up.
Yeah. That was when we were targeting the dental niche. So we used to do all that, and we just started testing different things. And in mass, the volume pricing difference for versus the effort and time to handwrite, an uptick in conversion ratio. So I'd rather just get a maximum out and then just keep doing that for the ROI on time that we'd invest to actually handwrite it. And there are handwriting fonts you could do now, and there are companies that will have actual pens, like pens, like moving up, doing the writing.
You can't tell the difference in some of those letters.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
So
I've got a few of them from yellow letter. You can't tell the difference.
yeah, and yellow letters for its main target is real estate investors, and these guys send a tremendous amount of direct mail. So so that's what we got going out. Once I place the order, I'll do an update on the video and then kind of do an ROI on what we got from it. And of course, we're selling the direct mail course on the back end, but we'll see if people are interested.
Question.
It works, right? Who wouldn't want to know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not selling something if it works. So
Correct. Yep.
Are you throwing a QR code on the letter?
We're not.
I feel like that could be huge now that everybody's getting more used to it, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I didn't realize how big QR codes got again until we're
They're like menus now in restaurants.
Yeah, it's all the menus. So people and that's why like older people, I guess, like I would say my parents, like at late 60s, like they're pulling their phone out and just hitting the QR code in the restaurant. I'm like, I mean, this would have been a 15-minute ordeal to try to get my parents to pull up a QR code.
I mean, they tried for a decade for people.
Right.
All of a sudden, they changed it overnight. I thought they were dead for
COVID, man.
For a while.
Yeah.
People had to adapt, that was it.
Yeah. So the reason I asked that is because it's lower barrier. You can track all of it, obviously, when they're coming through. First
round, I would say no. We're going straight phone call. Round, we'll put a website on there. I'm going to test because I want the call. I want the one-to-one call, the direct call right away. The website traffic, but I think as we continue to mail, I think we will. Maybe not QR code, maybe website. I don't know, but I'm certainly open to it. I don't care. I'm open.
Yeah.
It works.
The only reason I asked that is we did really well this year with the marketing packet, which again is given to you in seven-figure agencies. It's stupid the amount of value that you can pull out of that thing. But we took that marketing packet and sent it to our email list. We had a bunch of people ask if they could forward it on to their friends. We're like, yeah, go wild. I mean, it's got all of our links in it and everything circles back to us. And we had sort of thought about going to, top 1%, like you said, like real estate investors, like, they're not far off of what real estate agents and brokers are, but to send them that and have a QR code for the free marketing packet, here's, click here. We thought about doing that. And that was something that we mulled over, but I just wondered if you guys had done it or tested, if anybody else had that you knew of. I think that could play well. I don't.
Yeah, I think that would do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I just haven't messed. Honestly, I haven't used a QR code since COVID started, or since the seven-figure agency event. And then it's like we want it. It was like snap a QR code.
Right.
So I'm down. I'm down to test anything. Rob knows this. I mean, the amount of testing we've done over the years, it's not
outrageous.
Yeah, it's like you don't call your marketing fail a fail. You just call it a test that didn't work well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
We've gotten more marketing that's been wrong than marketing that's been right.
Right. Yeah.
In our history. But that actually leads me to the next part, or not next part, kind of general. When you're marketing your agency, you only need really one strategy to really kick you off and get you up into the 6 figures and 7 figures. It's just find whatever is going to work for you. It could be cold calling, it could be direct mail, it could be content, it could be strategic alliances, referrals, whatever. But
Google Ads.
Could be Google Ads. It could be Facebook Ads. Yeah. All right. So my next question to all you guys is, we'll start with Nick, is for Rob and I, when we started, I'm front of house, Rob's back of the house. So he was production. Nick, you're an owner, Dustin, you're an owner, and marketing owner. I mean, by that, I mean solo owner. You guys are 100% owners. What was your first hire after you got rolling and had the funds to hire somebody, and why did you make that hire?
Good question. I actually had I had a web hosting company that I was trying to destroy or leave or eradicate. So I had a bunch of employees in my transition. The first employee I brought over was more of an operational one. At the point of I tried to be a consultant and wanted to get out of the business owner and boss lifestyle. So when we got too many clients, I went and just got. It's because of my nature. I had to have an operations person that was going through and doing the emails, getting back and forth. I love doing the ad accounts, and I could do phone calls with people, but I couldn't do the in between. And I think your first hire has to be somebody that compliments you, because I am an absolute time suck of a human when it comes to getting things done. I am the poster child for ADHD and for every medication that every person should ever have. So operations was my hire.
Okay, cool. Dustin, how about you?
So I had 3 partners at one point, as you know, up until about 4 years ago. Now I'm solo, but our first hire outside of that was actually, if I think about it, when we first came together, we had a copywriter, because at the time we were doing a lot of copy. But if I look at just the Google Ads side, it was an account manager / person doing the work, right? So they weren't really directly interfacing with the client too much. I mean, they would from time to time if they had to. It was kind of more my role with a lot of the clients. They would just do some of the day-to-day work. We would oversee it from a strategy perspective, but it's more like boots on the ground in the account, kind of doing the day-to-day, following our processes for doing things. And that worked out well. He's still with me today, actually. My top guy in the company. So that worked out well. I mean, since then, we've kind of grown another layer below that to where now he's kind of managing somebody in that role, and I'm kind of a little bit more higher level, but I could definitely use an operations type person who I'm trying to get, have somebody that's a project manager that I'm giving the chance to kind of fill that role and see how they do. But yeah, I think having a person that can do the day-to-day Google Ads, if you're better with people, I tend to be good at both, but I prefer people over Google Ads these days. It wasn't always like that. It was the other way before. And now I feel like there's just so much. I mean, I like Google Ads. It's just like, I see the value in being in front of the business versus behind, doing something that I could train somebody to do mostly as well as I could probably do it, So
It doesn't help either that they keep changing the freaking rules in the middle of the game. You know what I mean?
It does. And that just brings you
relearn
back into
everything
training
while
again.
By the way, this doesn't work anymore, so you got to stop doing that.
Right.
Doing it for
Oh,
fun.
and we didn't even tell you. And we
Yeah.
didn't tell you. You have to go figure that out yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an Easter egg.
Yep, absolutely. How about you, Mark?
Well, I think the first couple of hires I made were pretty typical of what people do. I tried to hire someone to help me at an expert level, another Google Ads person. And it was always a fail because it just gave me more work to do, trying to teach these folks how to do things the way I did, or to answer their questions. And the right hire was a project manager. And I always urge people to try that. Even if you can't hire one full time, you can get someone part-time if you're just gearing up your agency, because that's a skill a lot of us don't have. I can project manage, but it's one of the problems that they don't talk about in the glamorous start a marketing agency, videos and stuff on Facebook, all the gurus that are pitching that, is just how painful it's going to be at the beginning when you have to take on horrible clients. Sorry, I'm not going to badmouth. I'm going to badmouth clients from a long time ago. You have to take on any client. You're doing all the work. You're trying to figure your stuff out. So for me, getting that project manager was a key role for us, just to have someone operationally who could help me move the pieces around. And the other thing that turned out to be really good was she's also extremely good at evaluating people and talent. So I like everybody. So to me, I'm not the person that wants to do the interview, because I'm going to end up liking you at the end of the interview. She's much harsher. What's the right word? She's much more
Perfect word.
Yeah, she's harsher. She just doesn't care.
Thorough.
Yeah, thorough. There you go. She doesn't care if she likes him or not. She cares if she really sees him as a good fit. That helped a lot, because people, as you know, are, everyone, a lot of people interview well.
Absolutely. You nailed it on the head, man. I was talking to Stuart Trier, who we consult with. He consults with us, and he helps us. He coaches us, and I'm like, man, I suck at hiring. I'm like this now. The current team, Awesome. Really happy with them. They're doing a great job. Early on, it was just like whiff, whiff, whiff. And we'd be interviewing people. And like you said, I liked everybody. I was like, I could have a beer with this guy. This is easy. I get it. And then when they come on and it's a disaster. So yeah, I can definitely relate to that, man. So putting somebody in the middle there to make that to kind of weed people out was super helpful.
The first thing she did was fire my guy. Like I had a guy that was working for me. She's like, this isn't working. Like, well, I kind of knew that. Well, then you should have done something. You know.
Yep. Cool. How about you, Rob? What do you got? What advice do you have on the hiring front?
Oh man, I'm not like Dustin's a people person. I'm not a people person. I don't want to be involved. I don't want to talk to anybody actually. I just want to like do my work and listen to music really loud.
Can I give some insight? So Rob, a client will send over a request that is maybe not the brightest of ideas. And you know, just from our experience, we know this is a really bad idea. And Rob will be like, refund this client, fire him, get rid of him.
I'm not against. I don't disagree with his take on that.
I go through those stages, or someone will come to me and say, "This client asked for this." I'm like, "You want me to fire him?" Because it's just like this. I'm not ready to deal with this today.
I get dramatic sometimes.
Oh yeah, right. Yes.
But yeah, as for hiring though, I mean, you know, I think what Ed said too though, like we have a buffer. Like Stuart would do like interviews for us first and like find qualified guys, and then we would do interviews. That's huge. It helps because when we were just doing it, it was a disaster. And we got, like Ed said, we liked a lot of people that we probably shouldn't have liked and put them in place. And it just was weeks of undoing everything they've done.
Yeah. And I think it's part of it's we wanted them to be a good fit more than they were actually a good fit.
Yeah. Yep.
And we wanted the process of hiring to be over. And that is not a good, not a good recipe. It's like the chick that just dying to get married.
It was definitely a learning lesson.
Those ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had to let somebody go today for that exact reason. And I was actually what you said, Mark. I was going to have my operations, my project manager guy, who's a little bit more, you know, level-minded, just do the interview because, like you said, like everybody said, like you like people, you want to help. You feel like, all right, you know, with a little bit of help, they could do this, and you're just making excuses for something that may not be a good fit. And she started the Monday of the event, which is the Monday before last. Really super girl. I mean, she was a good person, but just not quite available the way we needed, not quite following the process the way we needed. And, you know, and I'm like, all right, let me give it at the end of the week. And I was like, thinking about giving it another week today. I'm like, no, the Band-Aid has to get ripped off because it's not fair to the team member that's kind of carrying that weight and not for the client. I mean, clients were good. Nobody had any real issue or anything like that, but it wasn't what we needed. So sometimes you just got to get it done. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be in the middle of this process right away all the time. So
did you do that on Friday strategically, or was that just a random?
Well, I gave her this week to kind of see where things would go. She's gonna work enough hours. Are we gonna be on top? Are we gonna catch up? And you know, I was gonna try to rearrange things today with her team lead for maybe next week. And after looking at it, I'm just like there's not enough here to salvage. Like there's too many things that are not happening. And again, great person. She was super like appreciative that she even got to work with us for a few weeks. And I mean, I couldn't ask for a better scenario for a firing than that, but she's too far out for where we need her to be today, you know, and I'm not paying her to be that far out. I'm paying her to be here now. So that's kind of what I was hoping to get. And this is a replacement of somebody, unfortunately, like a month ago that didn't work out, and he kind of just ghosted because there's some time tracking finagling going on there that wasn't cool, and I think it became an issue. And I didn't make it a big deal, but it was enough that whatever, whatever, right?
A mentor of mine put it this way. He said, you know, go ruin someone else's business. You know?
That is a great way to put it.
Very cool. So let's talk how you got your first agency client. So most of us didn't say we're starting an agency. How do you get your first client? Just in the marketing side of things. How did you get, not from your hosting side, Nick, you're actually how did you get your first client?
Yeah. So my first client was a family friend. He was a broker and ran a small real estate team, reached out to me. I'd been doing Google ads to try to pass the time from really hating web hosting. So I had like 12,000 clients in web hosting, and I would offer free ad like analysis with no direction on it and no thought of doing anything. And I had a real estate guy reach out to me and say, hey, I had this guy ghost me. I mean, tell me if you've ever heard this before. I had this guy doing stuff for me and then just ghosted me, and he did all my Google Ads stuff and he took the account. I can't get into it. I can't show you anything. Like, coming to find out, that's the most common issue everybody has in the industry. But I did a pretty quick bang up job on what he needed. I came back like 2 weeks later and said, this is twice as good as what the other guy was doing. How much do you want to charge for him? Like, I don't know. And I gave him a stupid number, like a real cheap number, because I didn't care. And then I had 4 other calls the next week from real estate agents that he had talked to throughout the country. And that's when the light bulb went off. Like, maybe I've got something here. But yeah, just on an accident and trying to help a friend out, and ended up being a good move.
Very cool. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, how on earth did you get 12,000 clients of anything?
Well, this could be another conversation for another day. When I was 24 years old, I convinced a private finance guy, an independently wealthy man, to give me $1.2 million to buy a hosting company. So I'm very persuasive. Also, if you've seen my wife, I'm really good at sales. So it was, I started a web hosting company. So the goal was, okay, start one, because I worked at this one, had a small ownership of it, left because I didn't think it was being run right. Started my own, did really well with it, and then had an opportunity to buy it back, the old one that I was at. So we went in, and he, as my partner, he went in and financed it for me, and let a 24-year-old kid that doesn't know how to pay taxes, how to run a business, to run a business with like 12 employees and a massive payroll, massive bills. And it ended up not going well. You guys are going to be surprised to hear that. Yeah. So the second iteration of running a business has gone a lot better.
Awesome. Very cool. I'll have to pick your brain on that. I'd love to hear that full story. Yeah. Dustin, what do you got?
Yeah, first client was also a friend, met when we went to a real estate investor training years ago. Because I was in real estate as an agent for years, but I got into that because I was investing, or I was starting to invest at the time, straight before the market crash in 2005-ish, something like that. So I met him. He owned a generator repair company, like a diesel generator type company. Really cool guy. And we'd always talk about marketing stuff. We were in all the internet marketing programs. We just really hit it off. Super cool guy. I'm still friends with him today. He lives down here. And we started doing some stuff for his company. We were getting him leads. At that time, I was doing SEO as well. So we ranked him in maps. He was killing it, getting phone calls out the yin yang. It was really awesome. But that's what, I mean, I had been doing Google Ads for my real estate for myself at the time to get listings. And that worked out really well with Google AdWords Express. You guys remember that? I felt like I was ahead of my time a little bit, because I started to get reviews in Google Maps. And then I realized, wait a minute, if I run these ads, they have the stars in them. Nobody knew about the stars at the time. It's like, what are these stars? Must mean that this guy is great, right? So just spending money on the AdWords Express with the stars, with the handful of reviews, and nobody in my market had reviews. It was like, this was easy. And then people would come to me pre-positioned to buy. They're like, yeah, we read your reviews. We want to get you over to list the house. I'm like, well, that was easy, because normally you go on a listing appointment without that. It's like, why should we hire you? What's going on? You get that crap. So now it's like, okay, pre-sold. So I'm like, well, there's something to this Google thing. And of course, started doing it for my buddy I just told you about, and then eventually doing it a little bit more and more, and then met my partners, and we did it for a bunch of other companies. We put things together. So that's my story.
Very cool. How about you, Mark?
I just remembered AdWords Express. That was the only way to get onto like Google Maps, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
That was the secret sauce. That was terrible otherwise. But funny thing is, I got a Craigslist app, and I just started searching AdWords everywhere across the country. Anytime I posted up something about AdWords, and then I'd respond to them. And I don't think it would, I don't know if it would work now, but it worked then. And that was 2014. And that's how I ended up, I had some good clients, ended up with some really crazy clients there too. But that Craigslist app, I would just work that every morning, find new stuff that happened. I'd go city by city. And it's funny because I just deleted it from my phone a couple of weeks ago. Like, damn, I still have that thing. I did a quick search just to see if there was still some, people posting up there, but it's not a route that I want to go down, but it worked.
Very cool. How about you, Rob?
I started out in doing it myself, actually. Remember ClickBank? See ClickBank stuff back, way back when you could do like affiliate links still and ads and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I worked for a .com and just did it for them. And then I started getting people on what was the Elance?
Elance, yeah.
Yeah. Whole thing, right? I scooped up a ton of guys on Elance.
Very cool.
Started freelancing from there, and then did that for a while until I met Ed, and then me and Ed got started.
Cool.
Legitimately, because I was not legitimate before Ed. I was all over the place. I would take anything. It was a disaster, but
ditto. So my first one was from direct mail, and then I at some point started buying spam form leads that contact form leads that Rob was selling.
Yeah,
and that's how our relationship started. Yeah.
Great bots.
Then
garbage.
I had one client that kept begging me to run Google ads, and I did not want, because I was in through all the SEO programs I had been buying over the years. They told me Google ads was dead. I shouldn't be doing Google ads. It's a waste of time. I knew Rob did Google ads. We ended up working out a deal where I'd sell it. He'd sub the work out. He'd do it. It was our first iteration on white label, and it worked exceedingly well. Company grew like 2 or 3 or 4 times in the span of a year, kept pumping up the budget, crushed it, did really well. Opened up my eyes to what Google ads was and how effective it could be and how quick it could be. Because what he was doing in 30, 60-day timeframes was just mind-blowing compared to SEO taking 90 days, 180 days type turnaround times. So right then and there, I saw leverage, and I saw power, and I saw an underutilized talent in Rob, and I saw someone that hated talking to people. And knowing myself, I hate fulfilling work. So I was like, oh, this could be interesting. And we hit it off, and soon after started a company. So ended up meeting my business partner online. I ended up meeting my wife online. So I guess I trust people online. So please don't send me any spammy offers, because I'll probably.
I remember telling Heather that, my wife Heather, she thought I was nuts. She's like, "You're out of your fucking mind. Who's this guy you started a business with? You just met him on the internet?" Like, so you're not giving money, right? You're not giving any money, are you?
Yeah.
Nigerian prince.
Exactly. There's a meme floating around right now. It's Nigerian prince dies in house with $53 million under his mattress.
No way was taken.
Trying to give away his money this whole time. Cool. So we went over starting first client, what's going on. So talk to me. Last question. For an agency getting started, what would be the best piece of advice that you could give them? Just getting rolling, we're like, let's say sub $10,000 a month in revenue. Nick, what's the best kind of send off you could give them?
Yeah, so I always tell, I do this a lot with entrepreneurs, and it goes the same with agency owners. If you're making, let's say you're making 10K or you're right at 6 figures, your business, if you don't have a good accountant and attorney that you know, like, and trust, it's gonna end up getting you in the long run. Make sure you have that buttoned up, be legal, so to speak. But then on top of that, don't buy every single thing. I think we've bought every single package that's been out there. We've been down every path. Like, I started in the Perry Marshall world and went to A to B to C. I will say, and this is not me selling, this is me telling you from years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of spend, this 7-figure agency stuff, the stuff that Josh Nelson's giving out, the direction that you can get there, the mentors. I think the mentors are very valuable for people that are starting an agency, because you can ask a question in there, and there's people like us in there that like, oh, that's simple. I did that 2 years ago. It was a horrible idea. Yeah, don't do that. That alone is very valuable. So if an agency's starting out, I would say get into that group. Even if you're in the Facebook group, you don't have to be in the paid group, so to speak. You're going to get value from it. And then when you got a couple bucks that you're looking to invest in yourself, and do that. I think that's a huge opportunity. But attorney and accountant, that's big.
Got it. Okay, cool. I can attest to that as well. As in not having all my shit in order early on. So get it in order helps. Get a bookkeeper in place. Get all that stuff going. Dustin, what do you got?
Yeah, so one thing that I didn't do that you've been harping on me for years and I'm finally getting into is niching down, right? So starting off very focused on who you're going to serve, what you're going to do for that person or that group. You can obviously expand that over time, I think, if you want to, but I think that was a lesson that we are still learning even to this day to a degree is like, we have clients right at this moment in 40 different niches, probably. Maybe it's more than that. It might be more like 50. And if we think about all the ones we've had in the past that have worked out or not, right, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of different verticals, which is very difficult on your team, difficult on you as trying to be an expert at something. And yeah, if you do one service like Google Ads, you might think, well, okay, I'm good at Google. I can be good with everything. And the truth is you probably can, but the time and effort that it takes to get that good on the fly is not easy all the time. And it's not not fun. It's not your fastest path to success, I don't think. So if I were doing this all over again, and I've been thinking about that so much since we got back from the event last week, and then with just people issues and team issues where, again, they're following processes for 40 different industries. So it's like, what do you really expect them to be able to do consistently, right? I would say niching down is number one, and number two would be just, do the best you can for your clients, be honest with them, like really go out of your way to serve them well, because if you're only thinking about getting money, you're going to be hurting people along the way, probably. I mean, I know that can work for some people, but I honestly think, like you said, Ed, I've gotten referrals from people that we've never done business together, or that we've run campaigns that just didn't quite work out. But it wasn't that it happened and I was promising them the moon. I was more like, hey, this thing might not work out. I'm willing to work with you on it if you want, but I'm just, giving a heads up, and we'd be in contact along the way. Maybe for whatever reason, things didn't play out, but we're friends, we're buddies, we're good, right? Because we led with our heart and we try to do the right thing. So I think not overlooking the human side of the business and not treating people with respect and the way you would want to be treated if it was your money, I think that's another important aspect as well. So that's what I got.
Awesome. 100%. I definitely agree with the two main themes there of niching down and then do right by people, and it'll come back in spades. Is that how it goes? Is that what the saying
I think
is?
so.
Yep.
I don't play
Pays
cards.
and spades.
Yeah. Pays and spades. I like that. Cool. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I think the one thing is be very careful about which gurus you follow. Probably don't follow any. I highly recommend Josh Nelson. I'm not in the seven-figure agency at this point, but I talk to a lot of agencies that are just starting out. I'm like, there's so much that you need to know that you could just do this. You just do seven-figure agency and you'll avoid a lot of stubbing your toes and costing yourself money. Ignore most of the other gurus. And I say that because we've worked with some fairly big e-commerce clients before, and they always come to me with like, do you know Ed Sharp or Joe's? Like, if they start throwing those names around, they're following somebody, they're a big believer. It's like the ClickFunnels people. Sorry if we're all ClickFunnels people here. Just Josh has got a really solid program from everything I see, and he helps people think clearly through the processes. But in general, I'd say pick a niche, and I say niche, sorry. You're going to be a Facebook ads person, or you could be a local, I'm in St. Petersburg, let's say. I could be a local marketing agency, but you have to pick a niche. You can't do everything. You can't bounce around from thing to thing to thing, because you're never going to get good at it. Our niche right now is white label Google Ads for agencies, but to Nick's point or Dustin's point, when we touch in a lot of different niches, and some of them I just say, I don't even know. No, I don't know if it's going to work or not work. If we're in roofing, plumbing, blah, 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 then we know it works. And Ed, to your advice, we're probably going to do some more niching down ourselves. The other thing is figure out account management as quick as you can. Account management in the Google Ads business, to me, is the hardest thing to teach other people how to do, because you have to be able to talk to people and know the subject matter. So I don't know if you all agree on that one, but to me, that's the hardest role to fill well.
Niching makes that easier, Mark.
Yep. Niching definitely makes it.
Niching makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
What we did was we hired someone with legit Google Ads experience that was good with people, that
There's only 3 of those people, and I'm one of them.
There's
So
4 of
we
us on this call besides you. So what does that say?
So we did Google Ads. Like, we look at the company, and everyone that we hire knows Google Ads first, and then secondary, whatever it is that they do. So that's kind of how we got around it. Because, like, especially in white label, your agencies are going to ask way more questions, more technically deep questions than a retail customer is going to ask. So having someone that's got chops on there kind of has been our workaround, on that front. So, Rob, what about you? What advice do you have for?
So the question was for an agency who's just starting out under 10,000 revenue, right?
Yeah.
So assuming that they have the skills to fulfill the jobs, the first thing I would do before anything else is start a YouTube channel. I would start a YouTube channel, and I would start providing value to the specific industry that I'm serving. And I would not stop. I would do 10 videos a day if I could. It's all I would do. I put all of my time into content and just keep hitting that while the agency grows. Because after time, that thing's gonna become a monster, and you'll be the authority. It's an immediate authority builder in the future. So that's the hard part, is you got to look past, wow, this sucks right now because, I'm doing all these videos and there's nobody watching them, and you just got to keep going with that. That's what I would do. If I had nothing, had to start from scratch, I would pick a niche in Google Ads, and I would attack it with YouTube.
Awesome. Good
And
stuff.
probably cold email.
Cold email. Okay. My advice to somebody new would be 2 things. Focus is the key. So focus on the main thing. Make the main thing the main thing. Great book called The One Thing. And it's basically about identifying the one main thing in your business or in your life and focusing all your effort on that. So not divert effort. Like people talk about diversifying their assets and their streams of income, but only people that should apply to are people that are rich and are then trying to diversify their assets, not people that are looking to get going. If you're trying to get going, you don't have a lot of money. Focus, make focus the key, focus on the main thing. So if it's a Google Ads agency, make that it. Because focus is a powerful thing and can really, move mountains. And the other thing is to create a mentality that Rob and I live by, which is the next mentality. So something good happens in your business, next. Something bad happens in your business, next. Move on to the next thing. Celebrate your wins quickly, mourn your losses quicker. And just remember that it's always next. And if you don't look in terms of a next mentality and a pipeline mentality, at some point you're going to look up and you've got no customers, nothing in your pipeline that you can work. And the business, is at that point is on the decline. If you're not growing, you're declining just by the nature of churn. So I would say just have the next mentality and focus on the main thing. So that's all I got.
Well said. Took us a long time for the focus, man. That was the biggest piece.
Oh, hell yeah.
Easier said than done.
It's hard in this
Yeah.
industry. Yeah, it's hard in this industry to focus.
Yeah. So many shiny objects in this industry that, quick ways to make money that you can divert some effort or focus towards something else. And it's just, it's easy. Shiny object syndrome is a thing for a reason.
Yeah, I think also like with the focus thing, when you realize, as I'm realizing now, like years into this, if I would have just focused in the beginning a little bit more, that some of the issues I'm dealing with today would not exist. And some of the frustrations I deal with today would not exist.
Right.
And I think sometimes it's just believing that that's better. Like actually it's just your mindset, right? Like what you said a minute ago, Mark, about like, let them ruin somebody else's business for hiring. To me, that's just a mindset shift. It's like, okay, wait a minute. It's not that I'm not helping this person, it's that they're going to hurt the business if I hire them, right? Like that's a mindset shift. And I think if we think about it as just focusing on a few things, it's so much easier to get good at a couple of things than it is to get good at 50 things or 50 types of things. And, it's just like, how fast do you want to be good at something? Do you want it to be 10 years from now, or do you want it to be 10 months from now, right? Like, or 10 weeks from now, maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
So I think that's another important thing that you said, is just believing it's going to be better.
Yeah.
I will say EOS has allowed us to speed that up, honestly, running those L10 meetings and being able to not be just the owner focusing on something and handing that over to an employee and saying, hey, this is your job for the next 90 days. This is a task that you need to get done. Most employees love that too, because again, being the human bottleneck, I slow everything down. And everybody loves the idea that I have. And then they're like, hey, remember 2 years ago when you said we should do that? And then I never did it. removing that, because some people can't focus, and allowing the team to do it. If you've got good team members, helps too.
Can you, for those that don't know, can you kind of just give a 30-second recap of what EOS is and how it works?
Yeah. So entrepreneurial operating system is what it stands for, what EOS stands for. There's a couple of good books. Traction would be the first book that you read. It essentially tells people, and you guys are kind of I think a good example of it. You have your innovator and you have your integrator. The innovator has got a lot of good ideas, but never puts pen to paper. The integrator is the one that's sitting there and taking care of things. And instead of having an organizational chart, you have an accountability chart. So I have an employee that's my boss. I look at it, I say that in jest, but our integrator tells the innovator, hey, pull your head out of your ass. You need to do this job, this job, this job. So EOS is really good for, and you guys might have it as one of you is the integrator and one of you is the innovator. And that I've seen a couple of partnerships that have worked out well like that. But EOS is a good solution to help focus in on, one main meeting a week that, puts everything to task. You have 90 days. So we run every quarter. You have rocks that you work through, things that you want to get done that are really going to move the needle for your business. And it's been revolutionary for us. It's another thing that Josh Nelson pushes in his 7-figure agency, that he gives you all the tools to do to get that set up. But I've really loved it. I sort of went ass backwards like I do in everything in business. I read Rocket Ship first, and that was basically talking about what that integrator and what the innovator, how they work with each other really well. So once I read Traction, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. But EOS is pretty cool. It's not something to do until you have a team to do it with, is another good point too. If you're starting a consulting firm, or if you're starting your company, and you've got yourself and one other employee, I don't know if that's yet when to do it. When you've got 3 or 4 employees, and those can be VAs too. If you've got overseas work, you can run EOS with it. And it does help lighten the load for the owner, for the person that carries a lot of that burden.
Very cool. Awesome. Any tidbits or anything else you guys want to leave off with before we get off?
Performance Max. Get ready for
Performance Max.
We'll talk about that next time.
We'll talk about that one next time.
Performance Max.
That's awesome.
What's good?
All right,
what's bad about it?
Let's just go around real quick, just so where people can find you. Nick, where can people find you?
You can find me trolling Mark Kelly's post on Facebook, or you can find me on drivenleads.com. You can reach out to me on Facebook at nickjkramer.com, I think. Just go to Mark's post. I'll be on there.
Cool. Dustin, how about you?
You could just check us out, ppcpros.co, or we have a YouTube channel that is being worked on. We have content there. It's just been a little while, thanks to my buddy Ed over there.
Good.
So you can check us out there, hit us up. You'll find ways to reach us. I'm sure you'll figure it out. So
awesome. Mark?
Facebook, www.inboundrevenue, a little bit on YouTube, and mostly just riding Ed's coattails is most of where you'll find me.
And then me and Rob are clicksgeek.com, and then this channel. So that's it for today. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you liked it, give a thumbs up. Have a great day, guys.
Hey guys, it was nice talking to you.